Go to bed? Don't know why you said to go to bed. Unless you're inviting me into your bed, Josh. Jesus. Yeah, I just can't go to bed just yet anyway because I've not had my supper. Can you drink it? Huh? Excuse me, have you got my food yet? Have you got my food? Hey. Bring it then, will you? For God's sake. You go to bed, you bastard. Sick to the teeth with the things we did for you as a child. Sorry if there's too much to spend. I've finished making the coffee now. Well, hello again. Hope people can hear me. This is me just sitting in the Double R Diner here in Twin Peaks, and I'm having some toast with beans and cheese. I'm still on UK time. It's now 11:19 p.m. As you can see, it's here. It's still afternoon. Been easier, but not literally, with me, Phantom Cooper. He's gone off to a separate event in the town. Sort of cross-dressing thing, drag queen quiz or something of that nature, as you would expect, really. They'll be singing songs from the 80s, Gloria Gaynor from the 70s, ABBA, Erasure, Pet Shop Boys, Frantic Goes to Hollywood, David Hasselhoff, Madonna, this sort of thing. None of those artists were actually in Twin Peaks. So I don't know what really the connection is as far as Vin's concerned, but I think he's just going there just to check out, you know, the talent. Because he's like me, he's constantly on the lookout for anybody to be his lover or girlfriend or boyfriend. Well, I'm not personally looking for a boyfriend, but I've got the general sense from Vin that he might be certain things he said about Josh in the past. I think that's why Josh started off this whole thing with saying go to bed. Hello there, Ashton. Thanks again for tuning in. The background noise is basically just like wind outside the double R. It might look quite settled from the photo that is behind me. Well, no, that's not a photo, that's real. But it's not. It's actually quite windy. Just I might go to an outside broadcast in a minute if I'm lucky anyway, so we'll get to see some more areas of Twin Peaks. Oh no. Okay, wait 1 second, sorry. I clicked on the wrong thing. Anyway. I'm just going to go to a different location in Twin Peaks as well for you. Hopefully you'll better recognise it. I'm actually on an elevated platform that they built where you can get a really good view of the falls. And then I'm moving on quite swiftly to the home on the range as well. And I can on the range. Just, yeah. Now this is my favourite location really to have baked beans and stuff. So this is actually, I'm just now basically camped outside where Josh works. I don't know if you may have heard of him, Josh Backhouse, who is a long time chatter. He works in the range. I'm pleased to hear it, Ashton, but you have to tell us details about this TP fan fiction. I think the inclement weather has passed now, Barry, so don't worry, you can get down to the range if you want anything. There's pens, and with brush feed, paint, if you want to, paint the wall, or even just crafts, if you want to do some oil painting. Toilet paper, and stuff, everything. And it's all crammed in within the most space possible, really, so that you barely got any room to walk down the aisles. Just Phantom Coop asks out of nowhere, if there is a God, do you think they are a righteous one? I don't know, you probably have to give me some more explanation of what you mean by that. You mean as in, are you talking about if people have done evil things, then do they face a reckoning in some way or another? Or do you mean in terms of on a more global scale, like, I mean, if a plane crashes or something, I can't really see how that would be an example of any kind of, a good God in the sense of, or a God that does good things or is righteous. Because, you're going to get lots of examples of different people who will have done things which are, some people may have been entirely benevolent and really great to their neighbour, just to use, neighbour in the biblical sense. Whereas other people may have been complete bastards the whole life. Someone, for instance, someone like Josh Backhouse, like coming in here and then as soon as I'm starting the video, he just puts in "go to bed," like. He is an evildoer. I don't think there's actually a Greggs indoor in Iceland, or in the Iceland in Greg, but they probably do have some Greggs items. There is a Greggs just down the road from here on the industrial estate, where you can really get some fine dining. No, I can't remember chastising him, Voltaire, but hi anyway, just come in, just launching all these accusations against me like Josh did as well. I can't remember him eating for any great length of time, but it was probably the proximity of which he was doing it to the microphone. I don't think people can really hear me eating now anyway. much. That's why I've got the, the music, not the music, the sound effect, ambient, and everything. Hello to the Soulless Trench Coat. Unusual name, or at least for here anyway. I've not seen you about in these parts. Good to have you here. Please field any questions you want to field. Phantom Cooper asks, if God was real, would he allow people like Bono to exist? I mean, I think a lot of Bono's career is based around him being, a so-called God botherer, really. Definitely something which helped the band U2 to become widely popular, at least at one time. Not that I have any particular opinion on that. A lot of it was just his embrace, of America and all of that. But I don't have any particular issues myself with Bono. I think he only has lent himself to generally trying to be positive. But on the other hand, it can come across a bit sort of like, the cool pop star trying to sort of get in with the politicians and all that kind of thing, and it comes across all very lovey-dovey. When really, I mean, aren't we supposed to sort of see our pop stars and rock stars, etc., as sort of artists and kind of apart from that side of things? So. You're going back in time, Ashton. Certainly, I hate to be sort of like, coming in with my outlook on things, where I'm comparably a doddering old fool without your optimism, etc. in this sense. Like, but I think at this point, for me anyway, I want the Twin Peaks story to go further ahead, more so than the return, and so that's my interest. I'm more interested in the idea of what would happen next, that kind of thing, rather than just sort of going back to learn more details that we missed out on, or something like this, or the stories that we didn't hear about. Yeah, it is actually a large industrial fan. I'll have to turn this off. Oh, well, I'm alright, thank you very much, Soulless Trench Coat. Apart from Josh coming in rudely and telling me to go to bed immediately, but I've had some odd sleep time the last few days. I think it was partly just to do with me getting over having had a bad cold and everything. Some kind of flu bug, basically, for about two weeks, and then my ear got very bunged up, and all I can say is I have a lot of sympathy for people who have any hearing loss or similar things. It was just the worst situation for me, because I just immediately found it depressing, because I use headphones so much and like listening to music and so on. Never mind just going out, and you can't hear things around you properly. It's just really not good. Not easy at all. Will you allow people to sell their Twin Peaks memorabilia they no longer want on the Facebook group? I mean, Twin Peaks Coffee Time. Well, or Damn Good Coffee Time, you know, it's fine, yeah, if they want to do that. I don't mind. That's pretty interesting. If I don't have a problem with Bono, you are a part of the problem. Um, yeah, he's like quite. I think he's just a bit of an actor, really, like a lot of pop stars might be, in that he just speaks one way and then has done the other. I think. Like he preaches one way, and then he's sort of like had a lot of his own problems with his health and everything, which have been caused by his own like less than sort of Jesus-like behaviour. But then again, if we're sinners and everything, then surely we can be forgiven. Surely even Bono can be forgiven. So, yeah, I didn't really have any opinion. It's like when you see his latest book, or his book that he came out with called Surrender, and as soon as I see that title, it just sort of, it's just, I don't understand why people lap up. But I mean, a lot of it is just U2 fans, and they're just, it's just so sort of preachy and kind of self-satisfied, really, which in itself is somewhat almost unreligious in its way, in its own way. But on the other hand, I just see it as an extension of U2, really, because what are they now other than just, you know, one of these heritage acts who are just there just to put on a great big show, and that's what people go for. They're not listening to their latest albums or anything and going, you know, apart from the very hardcore fans, and going, you know, I really want to see, I want to listen to these songs from Songs of Innocence. Was one of the albums called Songs of Surrender, or is that something I'm going to get confused with it? Yeah, I don't know really what to say about all that kind of stuff, because I'm not really invested in anything to do with Bono, you know, and his whole mystique or whatever. It's just like he was a good singer at some point, although some people thought he was over the top. For instance, Voltaire, you know, when he did songs on for that Stay Far Away So Close, I like that video, for instance. Bono and U2 themselves, they can come across a bit sort of just sort of like slightly taking themselves a bit too seriously, as if they're some kind of artistic act or something, you know, mostly, which really they're not. They're just like a fairly standard pop rock band. That's it, you know. Thanks for the sympathy, Soulless Trenchcoat. But I've got a lot better since then. So, do I have an ambient noise that sounds like Bono screaming in Eternal Damnation? I mean, I don't know really. I think like that idea of eternal damnation in itself is, to say the least, a bit over the top. For instance, it's fire and brimstone and everything. You know, like with Bono, if he's in eternal damnation, like despite all of his money he must have in the bank, and he's got a lovely family and all this kind of thing, and like his daughters are going into doing acting or whatever, which is just fantastic, obviously. You know, imagine being him now, and he's had a lot of health problems, so really you should be more sympathetic towards him. He had to have, you know, he's not been sort of covered widely in the media, but he did have basically heart surgery, which saved his life. I mean, sometimes I wonder if in his interviews he tries to deliberately wind people up with comments, because I saw one recently where he said someone was asking him more about do you believe in Jesus and everything, and do you believe Jesus came back from the dead? And he said, yes, you know. Do you believe in miracles then? He says, yeah, well, I'm a miracle. He says, I'm a walking miracle, as in he's referring to his health problems and stuff. So by extension, Bono is comparing himself to Jesus. So, but the thing is, you know, there are probably people out there who think that Bono is comparable to Jesus. So there probably will be churches in the future, you know, that particularly in Ireland, or where they'll have probably statues of Bono. So, you know, I don't think you should be talking about him in the way you're talking, Phantom Coop, and perhaps learn a little bit more respect for U2 and Bono. So. Soulless Trenchcoat, when you say he was okay, he is actually still in the land of the living, right? Unlike Burt Bacharach, who I will be doing a tribute to today. So I am from the East Midlands of the UK. So in the country of England, the East Midlands is the part where there's Nottingham, Leicester, Derby, etc., even going almost out to the coast, but where there's fantastic seaside towns like Skegness, far superior to places like Morecambe, for instance. And then, you know, I am more close to a town or city, really, called, sometimes referred to as a town because it's not the biggest of places in some ways, of Derby. So if you want to come over, Soulless Trenchcoat, I mean, especially with that name, I want to invite you. I mean, the reason I get offended by Josh saying go to bed as soon as I start this video is because I don't really have like loads of people that I meet every day and have some kind of big, you know, jamboree of getting together with each other and all being friends. But on the other hand, you know, it's what you're accustomed to. So, and you can meet some people online sometimes who are interesting and might be, you know, a benefit to you in certain ways. A good example is Ashton, who's come along and joined the chat and been very lively within it and everything, which I would like to say thanks to her for. And also, for instance, someone like Gary, you know, he's not living anywhere near me, but he's been very friendly towards me anyway. So, or I don't know, that sounds a bit strange. I mean, just been a good, you know, person I've been in contact with through this. Goes without saying that many other people who've been involved, including Josh, are, you know, have been very good on it and has long been on it. So, okay, another good question there. Do you think Agent Dale Cooper loved Annie Blackburn? Well, you're kind of carrying on something which I was talking about in terms of in our coffee time chat and everything. I think it was the start of definitely a loving relationship for sure. The only thing I would say is that it happened so quickly within the span of just a few episodes that I don't think it really would be, you can see it properly as a full-on sort of loving relationship yet. And the plot basically is that it's disrupted by the whole Windham Earl scheming and everything. So that spoils it, and that makes it such a shame, really, that Cooper seems to have found someone who he feels on a level with, because Annie's so sort of fairly, cerebral, talking to him about philosophy and things like this. So I think the idea we're supposed to get, though, is that possibly Cooper might have benefited from a partner who would be stimulating to him in, not, I don't mean just in some kind of being sexy or something like Audrey, but the whole thing with Annie was a bit like he was trying to sort of look after her or save her, in some sense. But so I don't think it was full-blown love or anything like that. No, not in terms of what we were showing. So yeah, Derbyshire Security have actually set up CCTV on the flats I live in just to monitor what I get up to. This is almost a kind of idea that when my mental health has been in not the best spot, I could almost imagine being real, but especially after the experience. But yeah. I think that would actually be a good idea if they were in charge of security across the East Midlands. I think Bono is still singing, but not at the moment. Well, we should get together on Facebook, Soulless Trenchcoat, and then I can send you, some photos of my area. I think the thing with Josh is a part of it is due to him feeling like, oh, James is so cool and everything when he does his videos, and he's got that kind of ability to present a video and hold an audience. Like right now, there's 15 people online watching me, and all I'm doing is eating baked beans on toast. So for Josh, that's kind of like, what? How is he managing this? The thing with him is he has all of the technical skills. He has all of the creativity. He can make some absolutely amazing models, as have been shown recently. His sets of the bathroom and then the toilets as well in The Shining. I'm not really sure why he's obsessed with doing models of urinal areas, but the thing is, I almost give him too much. I give him too much leeway, to bash me off. And at the end of the day, that's not what I want. I'm not interested in that. Yeah, I don't think that I think that the thing with the Annie and Cooper storyline and everything, the way it was in season 2, it's pretty much like at the very end of season 2. We've got like sort of at least far more of the second half of the show, of the second season, which is 22 episodes that season. So, like the last 11 episodes or something at least should have been dedicated to Annie arriving in the town and establishing sort of more a character and everything. But presumably, as Heather Graham has said herself in interviews and stuff, even that have been posted, I think, on Twin Peaks Worldwide today, etc., like, she feels like maybe they were either making it up as they went along or keeping things close to their chest. And Lynch even said to him that, that Annie is a finely calibrated machine or something like this, and which, I mean, I think it's just description of how to play her as an actress, actually, rather than anything to get anything bigger from it, really. Yeah, I mean, I think mostly it would have been really interesting to see what would have happened with Annie going into the third season if they carried on in 1992 or whenever. So, or maybe had a couple of years off and then came back on HBO or something back then. And they would have been given a little bit more leeway with content. Yeah, because I think a lot of the stuff to do with, for instance, the secret dossiers, the final dossier by Mark Frost, etc., you can sort of take them or leave them and see them as obviously Mark Frost's writing and not necessarily how Lynch would have filmed things like that. For instance, if we would have had Annie in The Return, she may just as easily have been living somewhere in some other place, doing something else, whatever, working in a library or something. That sounds a bit cliched, but, because she was a little bit more into that kind of thing and introspective perhaps, but, and, maybe she would have spent some time for some kind of facility, but not like 25 years, because by the same yardstick, if we think that she was away somewhere where all she ever said was "I'm fine," then which in itself is referencing something from the show, the "I'm fine." So it's almost got that meta aspect to it. But we can easily just think that Cooper has actually been in some kind of mental facility or something for 25 years. And everything that we see in The Return pretty much is just some kind of examination of his, mental goings on and imaginings, which is entirely plausible because so much of it is very Wizard of Oz-ish and in some kind of altered state and all this kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, there's a reason why Lynch didn't probably get Heather Graham to be in The Return, regardless of how available she was or wasn't. And it's just to keep the mystery alive, So let me just get this screen off. It's getting really looking really bad. Oh. Hello there, Pimpin X. Full of beans, full of GC. Yeah, okay, right. It's a bit late for that now. Come on, let's. Yeah, only just now I was earlier, a couple of hours back. I was saying to Ashton to watch Queen of Hearts in full. I think she's watched some of it so far. So. We are friends in Phantom Cooper, yes. I mean, don't worry about that Souls trench coat. Yeah, I mean, thing with Pimpin X, what you're saying there, Josh has always been too cool. That's the thing. Oh no, I don't think that Josh realizes the effect of his words often. To be honest, he's not really that majorly sensitive in terms of his behavior. He's very overly masculine, as if he's on, like, I don't know if he's on HGH or testosterone supplements or something, but he's just, I mean, he's got balls. I mean, they are so big. Some of the things he gets up to, honestly. But you know, that's his business. I don't judge him. Only God can judge him, to be honest. So yeah, what was I going to mention? Oh yeah, this is I mentioned before Lynch flew all the way to France and only filmed one scene with Monica Bellucci. That was the biggest letdown. Yeah, I mean, the scene he did film with her was good, though. When you look at it in detail, how she's, I'd never noticed, you know, that she's holding her fingers, and it looks like sort of Twin Peaks. So that's deliberate. But if what you're saying is that you think maybe he should have took like half an episode worth of, say, footage or something with involving Monica Bellucci and Cole, and of course the fact that Cooper was there. I mean, that was an example of Lynch at his most infuriating, almost. The fact that Kyle MacLachlan was actually there in Paris, and they just filmed him from the chin downwards. So yeah, I was just again sorting through heaps of just junk here and DVDs, and just wanted to do another recommendation of something here. I have written to Tom Selleck about this film to ask him, you know, I said, "Dear Tom, is the film An Innocent Man good? Would you recommend it? Because I've got it on DVD. I found it for free, in fact, in a kind of, you know, in the giveaway book thing here that's in the phone box. And I haven't got a response yet, but that's Tom Selleck's An Innocent Man. I have a feeling that it could be good. So this is Tom Selleck of Three Men and a Baby and TV's Friends. So yeah, 18 certificate, directed by Peter Yates, who's quite well known, I think. Where on earth did you see this, Gary, though? Honestly. And I just look at this and I think, was this actually supposed to be a major motion picture, you know, like a feature film release on the cinema back then? Theatrical release, as they say in America, or And I suppose it was because there was a lot of these kind of drama thriller type films around that kind of era. So it fitted in with a lot of that kind of stuff, I suppose. I don't think it would have made as much as the box office as something like Pacific Heights with Michael Keaton and something like that. But VHS rental. Thank you for the information, Gary. I appreciate it. I bet many people are absolutely just staggered to learn this kind of stuff, really. Okay, yeah, I will just mention what I've watched in preparation, probably to discuss it either on a Saturday or Sunday video, most likely. But first off, I finished watching. Actually, I didn't watch any of it before. Yeah, I watched Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Pretty okay. Everything about it was fine. It picked up. I think the last scenes were particularly felt more sort of heartfelt, as if they were actually in the real world or something. A lot of it seemed way too. The action sequences, especially, were just CGI to the max, and I had my TV sort of set on some setting that was making things just look too fluid and everything, and the CGI was looking almost laughable at times. But still, overall, it was okay for what it was. But it's almost like some kind of just long-winded episode of a TV show or something, really. But yes, I just wanted to mention this new show on Disney. I don't know whether it's called Disney Plus or whichever different TV channels it has there in America. This is a Star original one, though. This new show on there called Alaska Daily with Hilary Swank, which is well, there's 2 episodes available so far. Basically, a top, dog reporter on a big newspaper gets into trouble and has to go to a small town. At the start of the second episode, she sees a massive moose just standing there looking at her. Not unlike something like Northern Exposure, but it's doesn't have all the good music and quite the same level of comedy or whatever that a show like that had. But it's almost a bit like a Murder, She Wrote, but in Alaska type show in Alaska. So I don't really know what else to say about it. Yeah, I mean, I think that the problem with Wakanda Forever was basically it was made during the lockdown, and from what I've heard with the Marvel movies, they sort of spread the costs pretty much throughout all of the movies and TV shows, and so it doesn't even matter if something like Wakanda Forever is a major release, but it's very obviously just made during the pandemic. I mean, one of the better scenes is the car chase scene, etc., but even that feels a bit kind of curtailed, and there's literally like no other cars to be seen anywhere. Everything's deserted. I mean, yes, it's at night in a city, but it just seems like a really made in a vacuum a bit as a film, I think. More so even the original, really. Definitely more so than that. But yeah, thanks for the info, Ashton. Here it's just on Disney. They put all the channels on that. So Hawkeye, Werewolf by Night, and the Guardians Christmas special. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed some of the, just, I suppose, really, just for me, I just like the musical side of it. Some of the actors and the design of the Black Panther type stuff, because there's this part where they're going into a sort of, where the princess has her workshop and everything, and that whole design of that looks literally, the entrance part looks like something Lynch would have done, in fact, with it. It's got zigzags on it and things like this. But I know that those do occur, for instance, in some African countries as well, in various designs they use, like flags or all sorts of other stuff, garments and all this kind of thing. If you haven't checked them out at all in any way, I recommend having a look at the band Wisteria Lodge, which might sound like it's just referring to Lynch projects, but there is actually a Sherlock Holmes story called Wisteria Lodge. So, but some of their videos that they've made on location around the Twin Peaks locations are really well done, actually. And I only started looking yesterday, and maybe they'll hopefully be appearing on the on Coffee Time to have a talk. So I'll leave a link for all of their stuff underneath this video. Thank you very much anyway for tuning in today, and hopefully we'll all be meeting very soon. See you in the trees. Bye for now.